We're here at the Georgia Right to Life booth, and we're going to be talking with Carol Swift. And I just want you to take a look at the information, the wealth of information that is here in this booth. We hope that everybody will take advantage of this. But Carol, if you'll just come in and we'll get right in here, and because I know there's a lot of noise going on, but just tell us how you support or you bring the information to the legislators, to those in office, and how you bring them to our way of thinking.
Well, Georgia Right to Life is involved in education and legislation and political action. But by far our greatest challenge is education, and that means our legislators as well as the public. And when we are passionate about the issue and have our convictions, we simply share that in the hopes that we will plant seeds and water seeds that are already there, and God will bring the increase.
Amen. That is great. Now, I know we had such great success this year down at the legislature, and I know it's from the hard work of all the volunteers, because they've been years and years and years, planting the seed, watering the seed. And tell us about some of the good successes that we had this year.
Well, we fought for 15 continuous years for the Women's Right to Know bill.
Exactly.
And finally passed a couple of years ago. And this year we were excited that we had an ultrasound bill that looked like it was dead about 10 different times, and it was resurrected. But it became part of the woman's right to know.
Exactly.
And it simply says before a woman would have an abortion, she should be offered an ultrasound of her baby.
Exactly.
Just simply offered. And it seems so simple, but we know that the majority of women that are prone to abortion, if they saw an ultrasound, would see that it's life.
You cannot
choose life.
Yes, you cannot deny, once you see the sonogram, you cannot deny that's a baby, that's a living baby, and it's moving, and it's a wonderful picture.
Yes, we were delighted that that passed, and Representative James Mills sponsored that bill, and Nancy Schaefer in the Senate carried that bill, and we were delighted. It was 1 hour before the end of the session that it finally passed. So it was
A cliffhanger.
Yes, it was a cliffhanger.
Now, also, in your newsletter, you're talking about personhood, a call to arms. Tell the people a little bit about that.
Well, when Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton was upheld in the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court, they said we could not determine, no one could determine when life begins.
Yes.
And if that could be discovered, then these laws would not be enacted. Well, with DNA and all the scientific technology, we know life begins at fertilization.
Yes.
So the personhood amendment is simply to say when life begins, that's when it becomes a person. And a zygote or a fetus or an embryo is just a stage in life, just like toddler and adult and senior citizens like myself.
Exactly. Yes. Now, a lot of times we center in on the birth and life begins at fertilization and things like this, but also Right to Life has to do with at the end of life too. Can you tell us a little bit about that, because that's so very important, because we're seeing it in other countries and even some states that are becoming more open and more easy to this type of infringement. So will you tell us a little bit about that?
I will. In 1994, Oregon was the first country, the first government in the world to legalize assisted suicide.
Yes.
And we are very much opposed to that. God created life, and all life is precious. And so we want to make sure that that doesn't infiltrate the rest of the nation. So we fight against that. We fight against euthanasia.
Yes.
In the Netherlands, they were practicing assisted suicide before they practiced euthanasia.
Yes.
We had another victory this year, too. Senator David Schaefer from Gwinnett sponsored the Save the Cure, which was on embryonic stem cell research. it was against embryonic. It was for adult stem cell, creating a blood bank with the placenta, the cord blood, which is rich in stem cells. They don't have to destroy life.
Right. Exactly. This is so good. I want you to tell the people how to get in touch with you, your website, email address, and because we want the people to become so informed of what you're doing and what you're standing for that they take that information and spread it wherever they go also.
All right. Georgia Right to Life is at 283 West Croghan Street in Lawrenceville, Georgia, 30045. We are, our telephone number is 770-339-6880, and our website is www.grtlgeorgiarighttolife.org. And we would welcome you to come by and see us, email us, call us, sign a petition for the Personhood Amendment.
Yes.
Martin Scott is the state representative that introduced that toward the end of the session, and we will be fighting very hard for that bill.